Welcome back to the bottom line. I'm Ryan Herpin, and we're diving deeper into today's topic, the power of resilience. We've just explored the foundations of resilience, how to reframe our setbacks, how to control what we can, and how to keep moving forward. Now, I want to introduce someone who embodies these principles in both business and life, Jerod Woodard. Jerod is an Aflac agent who I've had the privilege to get to know over the past year. Jerod, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you.
So I want to jump right into this. What was the toughest moment in your career and what kept you from giving up?
But I've had two major careers. So when you ask about the toughest moment, there's two different sides to it. Before I became an Aflac agent, there were some pretty harrowing tales. But as an Aflac agent, I honestly think, as bad as it sounds, the toughest thing I've run into is the naysayers, the negative people that want to talk about you behind your back and lie to you, to your face, just to make themselves seem better. These people are supposed to be on your team. They're supposed to be your supporters. They're supposed to want you to be successful, because when you're successful, they're successful. But then you hear them talk about things like, just being so negative behind you. And for me, that was a low blow, because that's not something I care to put up with. It's so when I heard it, I honestly wanted to quit right then and there and find a different job, because I did not want to be involved with the negativity. But obviously, I didn't quit, because that's not who I am. But it, it it was one of those moments where you're just like, "What? Really? This is what I have to deal with on a day-to-day basis? Are you kidding me right now? Like,
You
I
know,
can go
I like how you brought that up. It brings a different dynamic and perspective on where resilience can come into play. Sometimes it's toxic environments, and those toxic environments can create such a hard place to be and hard place to work and be creative and to move forward and to strive to meet those goals and achieve things, right? And that's I think a really good point you bring because there's so many toxic environments out there that slow people down or just kind of whittle them down over time to where they don't feel like they can make the difference they are meant to make. So that leads me to something different here. How do you maintain a strong mindset when things don't go as planned?
I've thought about this a lot over the years, and I have to say it comes from a few different things. When I was younger, my parents had me in martial arts and Boy Scouts, and of course, I learned always to be prepared for whatever may be coming, and to think on my feet if I had to. Um, and then you throw in my faith. My faith has always been a cornerstone for me. Um, One of the things I tell people jokingly, but I mean it seriously too at the same time, is you have those people that come up to you and tell you, yeah, you're special, and they
Yeah,
usually don't mean it in a very good way. And I always tell them, yeah, I'm fully aware that I'm special. My grandmother told me so.
right.
And I've always had that family support. So between the my religion, my family, and my upbringing, it has given me a solid foundation. And I always know that no matter what happens, I always have somewhere to go at the end of the day. I always can return home and start over again. And for me, that's always been how I keep going, no matter what. I know that tomorrow's another day, and I can just start all over again and keep going. And then no
I,
matter
I
what, I
really
have
like
something
that.
to return to.
I really like that. There was definitely some gold in what you just said, and I'd like to highlight a few of those points you made. A couple of the parts of this that you brought up. Foundation, right? When you define foundation for something that's going to help you maintain that strong mindset, you addressed a few things that I believe deeply, and that is the people around you, the family, the support system you have. And sometimes, yes, there's people that are wishy washy and can either build you up or break you down. But that support system is so powerful and so important in keeping that strong mentality, that strong mindset, and to stay resilient in the face of other oppositions, right? But you also brought up faith, right? I believe purpose and faith tie hand in hand. They're so closely knit that with faith, purpose, religion, all these things, they can give you a strong sense of why. They give you that powerful, burning passion of why you get up every day, why you do what you do, what's the point of moving forward, right? That sense of purpose. And I think that is another part of that foundation that is completely necessary to stay strong. So, another good question is, how important is faith, discipline, or having a strong why from your point of view?
You know, I believe everybody has a why, regardless of what it may be. I think everybody, whatever they do day in and day out, they have a why. They have an end goal they want to reach, whether it be to buy a fancy new car, fancy new house, or to enrich their lives and support their family. Everybody's got a why. But that faith and that discipline on the back end, I think, is what really sets people apart. Because if you don't have the faith, if you don't have the discipline built into it, the why can be great and all, but you're not going to be able to accomplish it nearly as well as if you have those other two components. So for me, my faith and my discipline has always been my driving factor, right? I know that no matter how hard things get, that with my faith, that things are always going to turn out for the better, and that drives me to sit there and do whatever has to be done to get the job done. Like whether it be spending 3 hours on the phone between calling, headquarters to get things taken care of because somebody else can't do it on their end or whatever the case may be. If I have to sit there on that phone and do it for 3 hours straight, and let me tell you, that's exhausting. Talking to
Yeah.
60 different people on the phone for 3 hours straight, that can get really exhausting. But you got to have that drive to just get the job done and make sure that everybody is happy at the end of the day. And so, in my opinion, that faith and that discipline are what really set things apart. Like we all have a good why, whether we know what it is consciously or subconsciously. We all have a why, but that faith and that discipline is always going to be what's that driving factor.
You know, I could not agree with you more. Recently, when I became a co-author of a book, I wrote about my three principles of success, and I love how you just explained faith, discipline, and why or purpose. Right? I wrote my foundations, my principles for success are purpose, discipline, and unshakable self-belief. Right? And kind of like to address what you said in previous question is that support system as well. And I believe having that faith is a driving force to support that discipline. And the reason why is so important, right? So I look at it as your purpose is that base, that concrete, that cement. Your discipline is that driving force, that engine that builds you, grows your purpose, grows your disciplines, grows everything kind of all together. Discipline works in mysterious ways. And then your belief in yourself, supported by those around you, becomes the glue that holds it all together, right? And when it comes to overcoming challenges, if you don't have a good reason to overcome those challenges, why bother, right? And something that I like to really chew on over the course of a year, getting to know you and work with you in networking settings, business settings, one thing stands out to me consistently is instead of talking solely about your product, your service, what it is you do, you talk about your reason why and the deeper aspect of serving people. To me, that's so powerful. I think that sets you apart in my mind as someone who has true resilience because even though things get hard, you always talk about that you're there to serve people. So, my question to you is where does servitude play in your life?
It's honestly the driving factor for everything I do. I went through some tough times in college, and but it was a good time where I was able to really discover who I am and who I wanted to be. And the one driving factor for me was there was nothing that ever made me quite as happy as helping other people. And I've spent my entire adulthood trying to make that happen one way or the other. And so any decision I make, anything that I choose to do with my life, I step out there with that frame of mind. I'm doing this to help other people. And honestly, I think it's the greatest thing anybody can do with their lives. But when you get that thank you, or that, we're so happy you were here, or thank you for the help, or whatever it may be, however it may come, it's great. It's probably the most rewarding thing you can get in my career. I remember one day specifically in my previous job, I had literally been yelled at, cursed, from top to bottom and dragged through the mud. And I walked across the street and I had an individual thank me for all the hard work that I had done. And I looked and I went home that night looking myself in the mirror and I said, I pretty much just described my entire professional career in 5 minutes. You got those
Wow.
people that want to sit there and tear you down, but then you go right across the street and somebody is thanking you for all the hard work. And that makes it worth it. So, for me, I can go to bed at night knowing that I did whatever I could to make somebody's life better.
I
And
I think that hits deep. That at least it does with me. Because what I think you just expressed is you find your fulfillment in what you do. You believe you're serving your purpose by serving others. And when you do that, even though it's thankless a lot of the time and people don't, they maybe don't appreciate it the way that, most people, others would, but you find that fulfillment out of it. And knowing that you made an impact on somebody's life, you helped them through a hard situation, or you gave them the support through your insurance policies, right? To get them through something that seemed impossible or completely detrimental to the success and well-being of their family. That's where you find your fulfillment. Like you said, that helps you sleep at night. And I can definitely attest to that's where I find my fulfillment when I'm helping others grow, achieve different things, identify weaknesses and overcome them. To me, that's where I find my fulfillment. So I'm going to jump in right there and don't go anywhere. We're going to get right back to the show here soon with more Jerod and talk about the deeper aspects of resilience. Stay tuned for more on the bottom line.